Thank you, Mr. Hilton. Welcome to the meeting of the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District Board of Trustees. Today is June 15th, 2022, and I'll start with an apology for our tardiness. We do like to start at 5:30, so for all of you who are here or watching, we heard even today at the Sierra High School graduation how important and respectful it is to be on time. So I'm apologizing for that. So if you would please all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. The board did meet in closed session this afternoon and took no reportable action in closed session. Superintendent Geisels, do we have any changes to this evening's agenda?
No, President Zerk, we do not.
Would someone like to move approval of the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Roll call, please, Lupita.
Member Levac,
Aye.
Member Hennessy,
Aye.
Clerk Larson,
Aye.
President Zurich.
Aye.
Thank you.
And I would like to point out that we do have our board clerk participating remotely, which is allowed under the temporary meeting rules for COVID. So we're trying to keep everybody healthy, either here or remotely. So thank you, Galen, for participating remotely. Let's see. So next we have the Superintendent Chief Learning Officer's update for the board.
Thank you, President Zurich. I had the wonderful opportunity to attend all of our high school graduations, and I'm looking forward to the middle school promotions next week. And let me just say, it was just amazing and so exciting. And tonight, without further ado, we have a presentation from Miss Rachel Cuddle, who is our incoming Glenshire principal, beginning 22-23 school year. Miss Cuddle?
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Geisels and the board, for having Glenshire come speak in person. We are very excited to be here tonight. We see it in reverse. Perfect. Well, at Glenshire Elementary School, a few years ago, we revamped our vision. And our vision at Glenshire Elementary School that we embody every single day, all of us, whether or not we are at school, on the weekends, holidays, morning and night, we love to read and we read to achieve.
Yeah.
How do I make it work? Okay, thank you. So this system behind me shows our entire system in our school, and what we refer to our educational partners at Glenshire Elementary is our extended Glenshire family, because we work together as an extended family to get our students where we need to be. This slide shows the system of how our family works together between our students, their families, our highly trained and prepared teachers and paraprofessionals, in order to foster that true love of reading while supporting that ability to read. In Tier 1, what you see is what every single student at Glenshire Elementary receives in every single classroom. We have predominant strategies. We have a lot of parent involvement. We have a culture of literacy. Anywhere you go on the playground, before school, students are talking about books. And then we have strong assessment to help us plan for the next two tiers. In the second tier, that's where we work so hard to support any student who is not yet reading at or above grade level so that we can get them where they need to be. And finally, that tiny top tier is where we have our specialized work that we do for students to make sure that their specific learning needs are being met. There are so many ways at Glenshire that students engage in the love of reading. Some of the ways we show and celebrate our love of reading include reading challenges, million word clubs. I found out today that Miss Avery's fourth grade class has read over 24 million words, just the one class this year, right? We have library time with our amazing librarian. She's open before, during, and after school, and students are found there all the time while their parents are waiting outside to take them home from pickup. We have reading with our rough volunteers. Simon the cat thinks he's a dog and loves to be read to. And we have our annual family reading night every winter and reading buddies in the classroom. Speaking of reading buddies, I would love to introduce you to Giuseppe and Holden, who have been reading together every week this year.
Hi, my name is Giuseppe and I'm in the 4th grade at Glenshire Elementary, and this is my kindergarten reading buddy.
Hi, my name is Holden and I am in Mrs. Wood's class.
Every week after library, we go to our kindergarten buddies where we get to read with 2 kindergartners. I get to read with Holden.
I like that he reads slow and just right. He reads me the books I get from the library, and when we finish, if we have enough time, we get to pick another book from my classroom.
I love reading buddies because we get a chance to read out loud, and I love he's a great listener and he always chooses really interesting books for him and me.
My favorite book is football books.
My favorite book to read to him is a book about snakes because it is full of facts and we both dive deep into our learning. 3, 2, 1. We love reading.
As you can see, one of our readers came from the middle of his playoff baseball game to speak to you tonight because he loves reading so much. So I know you've seen this reading rope before, but this reading rope is pivotal to the work that we are doing at Glenshire Elementary. At Glenshire Elementary, we have all embraced our new learning around the science of reading, and our teachers and our paraprofessionals are diving deep into our new instructional practices to make sure that we are intentionally teaching every student what they need. In letters, they say that explicit, systematic, cumulative instruction that teaches students to decode graphemes and blend the corresponding phonemes and/or syllables is the antidote to reading failure. So I'll say it again. Word recognition is the antidote to reading failure. So all of our students in that Tier 1 of predominant strategies are receiving explicit, direct instruction for word recognition in the classroom. And those students who need a little bit more, something that's tailored more specifically to their specific needs during reading, they get that instruction during their reading groups with our paraprofessionals who are incredible teachers. So now I would like to introduce Ms. Mary Guerrero and Ms. Emma as they come up to speak about the work they are doing.
Hi, my name is Mary Guerrero. I am one of 4 reading teachers at Glenshire Elementary School. And this is one of my students, Emma. I read with Emma 5 days a week for 40 minutes. We started in the beginning of the year with phonemic awareness to later move on to decoding. Emma's reading has really grown during this time, and it really shows today. I am really proud of the work that we do in our reading team, as well as the students that get to graduate our program.
Hi, my name is Emma. I love going to reading group with Miss Mary. Every day we practice reading together. I get better and better at reading every day. I love reading. My favorite book is Dog Man.
So like this says, growth, growth, and more growth. I know we're not supposed to mention too much data, but if you get a chance to see our growth data, our numbers are amazing, and we're coming out of a pandemic. I couldn't be more proud. And part of this growth, I would like to invite 3 people to come up. First, our 2nd grade teacher, Miss Allie Cook, and her student Evelyn, and then after them, our 4th grade student Quint Connors.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Allie Cook, and this is my incredible 2nd grade student, Evelyn Roth.
Hi, 2nd grade was my year. Not only did I learn how to read this year, but I also learned to love reading. I love reading so much that I finished 6 Dogman books in 1 week. I also love reading so much that I read to my little brother every night. Well, actually, my dad pays me for doing that. At Glenshire, we learned to love reading. I did.
Hi, my name is Quinn, and I am a 4th grader at Glenshire Elementary. I used to not like reading because I like sports and moving around better. It felt boring to me to read. This year I became a reader. I worked really hard every day at school with my reading teacher, and I worked really hard every day at home with my mom to get better. At school I do sight words, sounds, and lots of phonics. At home I read good fit books for 30 minutes a day every school morning when I am most awake. All of this hard work is paying off. I grew more than 6 years on my reading level this year. I can read above grade level books. Now I am so proud of myself. My teachers and my family are proud too. I still don't like reading, but I don't dislike it anymore either.
As you can see, we are a true family. Students have referenced their parents, they have referenced their teachers. We are all working together to embrace that culture of reading. So now I would like to introduce one more student to speak to you as she shares her journey about how she became a strong reader who loves to read. Kaya, come on up.
Hi, my name is Kaya. I'm in 5th grade student in Miss Fergus's class at Glenshire Elementary School. This year is my biggest reading year yet. My teachers have helped me so much in class and after-school reading group. At school, we read together with the teacher and we practice a lot of Lcap. At home, I find a book, get blankets, and snuggle up in my bed and read every day. I loved reading so much that I wrote this poem about how reading makes me feel. Oh, books. You are smooth, beautiful, and full of stories. You are as interesting as a movie. You are bright as the sun. Oh, books. Books are movies in my head. How I love books. Oh, books. Also, I know I will be able to read anything in middle school next year. I love to read, and I read to achieve.
Well, of course, I forgot your reading challenge forms, so look for those in district mail. But one of our big traditions at Glenshire Elementary, and we often have around 300 students on average complete our summer reading challenge. All you have to do to come celebrate with pizza and bubbles with us on the 2nd week of school is read a good fit book for 30 minutes every single day and log it on the form that's coming your way and send it to our Glenshire library, and we would love to host you. And for your leisure, we had one 5th grade class. These are 5th graders promoting up to you, Ms. Larson. They made a 4-minute video, which you're not going to watch now. We know with technical difficulties, but for your leisure, I know you have it. So please watch it. It is our current 5th graders who are promoting, talking about how they love to read every day, even if it's a holiday, and what to do to get yourself to be a better reader. Thank you so much for having us come present and share with you our love of reading.
Thank you so much. And Glenshire students, you guys are amazing readers. I'm so proud of you. And you know what else you guys just did? You did public speaking up here, and you did beautifully. And do you know how many adults are terrified of public speaking? You guys are amazing. And I'd love to do the reading challenge. I get nervous if I don't have a book to read, so I'm down.
I'll send it your way.
Thank you, Mrs. Cuddle, and thank you, parents and teachers. It's amazing and so rewarding to see the work that you're doing. And send me that form, because I'm going to do it. I'll see you the second week of school. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent Geisels, for your report.
That concludes my update.
Okay. Better get back to baseball. Okay. Now we get to come to our annual pretty cool, fun evening where we recognize our retirees. And I'll tell you, I'm just finished 1 year of being retired. Good for you guys. You're gonna love it. So I'm so excited for all of you. So Superintendent Geisel, sorry.
Ms. Zapatini is going to lead us in the celebrations and the recognitions.
Lupita, can we have
And if I could have the board up here?
Yeah, so actually it would be fabulous. I would think that they're going to come up. So here's how we're going to do tonight. We have actually 18 people that are going to retire this year. Not everybody is here, and we're going to focus on those of you who are here tonight. We do have a plaque and a little bit of a goodie, but each one of you have a supervisor that wants to just share a little bit to you about how important you are. So I'm going to have, if you guys can come to this side, I'll help
Yep.
hand this to you.
And just because we're still having cases of COVID in the district, as you're all aware, we're going to do fist bumps instead of our normal hugging this evening, but we're hugging you in spirit.
So just a little bit of information. We have collectively 372.5 years of service with the people who are retiring this year. That's like a significant amount there. So we'll start with Alder Creek, and I know that we have, where's my, it's not. Okay, so just, I'll have you do that, so.
Joni, can I start? Yeah. Joni, it is an honor to lead and learn with you. Thank you for being an advocate for the students that need us the most. You will be truly missed. Today we had a visitor, and the visitor asked to see Mrs. A. And I said, Mrs. A is on her way home because she had a grandkid 5 days ago. And the kid said, Miss Larson, I heard she's retiring. And I said, yeah. And you know what he said? Man, she was on my back. And she cared so much. And that kid wanted to share that he's graduating from Paul Mitchell. And it was Louise. So, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, well done. Nice one.
Congratulations. Thank you for everything. Do you want to say anything, Jody?
Oh, hi. I am. This is his flower bouquet.
It's all about me.
So I'm Joanna Mitchell, principal of North Tahoe High School, and in recognition of Tom and his 31 years of teaching, Tom always made every year, every day, every moment count. He touched so many lives generations of students and families, not only through teaching all students, but he's instrumental in the ELD program, connecting with students, making them, our newcomers, have a home at our school and feel a sense of connection and belonging. And through track, he's just connected with so many students that will forever remember Tom, as well as being a leader on our campus and influencing all that we are at North Tahoe. He is the quintessential school mom.
I'm hugging you. You're welcome to say something. Yes, do you want to say something? Yes.
Thank you, Metro, best principal ever.
Thank you very much. Love it.
Joan pointing at me makes me nervous.
And Dean Nordby, not only does he have 32 years teaching at North Tahoe, he has literally spent his life at North Tahoe, having gone there himself. He is a legend in the band circuit as well as at North Tahoe. He is North Tahoe Band. Our alumni came and honored him at the spring concert with really hundreds of students paying homage to him and all that he meant to them and still means to them. I think in that group there were at least 7 people who are now in music education as a result of his influence. So, Dean, you're amazing. Your reach, your touch goes far, and you will always be a Laker.
Yes, I will be. I do have a speech.
Oh.
I couldn't have done all this without the kids. They bought into the program. They bought into the love of music, just like the kids who buy into the love of reading. It's just a reflection of their work. So really, the 32 years happened because I had great kids, and I also married extremely well.
Hey, I'm you.
Good evening. I'm Stephanie Fochek, principal of Tahoe Lake Elementary School, and this is our resident celebrity on campus, Mr. Frank. And we are going to miss him so much. I don't know how many elementary schools kids ask, can I please help Mr. Frank clean? That is like the greatest privilege that kids can earn, to spend time with Frank. Everywhere he goes on campus, he is swarmed with hugs, and he is always a great listening ear. He somehow always kept our school immaculately clean, well organized, always knew where to find anything, there super early in the morning, making sure everything's safe, but always had time to listen and to get to know kids. And every single child at Tahoe Lake is going to miss you so much, and all of the staff. You're really irreplaceable, Frank, and thank you for everything. But a well-deserved retirement, lots of rest. Yeah.
Don't be nervous. Thank you.
It's you.
Yeah.
You ready? My name's Sarah Colborn. I'm the principal at Truckee Elementary, and I have the absolute pleasure of saying a few words about our dear Sandy Hines. Sandy has been our librarian for ages and ages, way, way, way before I came along. Even though she's known so well for being a librarian, she actually has quite a legacy of other talents at the school as well. Some of them are instructional, some of them are not as well known, such as the gifts that you've given in terms of all of the hundreds and hundreds of walkathon t-shirts, setting the world record for the number of times a library would be packed, unpacked, packed, unpacked, packed, unpacked, packed, unpacked. And truly, Sandy is a kid at heart. You are a kid at heart. And you've brought that love and humor and fun to the kids and to the staff. You've brought your passion for reading and just passion for books. You can walk into the library, literally ask for a book. We've got a lot of books. And you walk through that library, you know exactly where everything is, and you know exactly how to match the perfect book with our perfect children.
Oh, I've packed it and unpacked it.
I know, yeah. And so truly, you've left a legacy. You will be very much missed. And I do have a message from one of your grandsons. Two of Sandy's grandsons are presently at Truckee Elementary, and I spoke with Aiden earlier today, and he wants you all to know that Grandma took really good care of him while he was at Truckee Elementary at the same time as her, and he wants to make sure that you don't give Owen more than one piece of chocolate, because that one time where he had 2 pieces, he totally went bonkers. So that's the advice he wanted to. We love you, Sandy. Thank you very much.
We promised each other we wouldn't cry. So I have the honor of talking about Dana Lawrence, but I just want to talk to Dana Lawrence. We've known each other a long time, and I didn't think this day was going to come unless it was at the same time. I am very excited that we won't lose you at football games, baseball games, band recitals, everything that we do at Truckee High School. So you'll still be there. Maybe I'll get you in a staff meeting or something. I don't know. Thank you for supporting the sales of paper grade books and keeping the idea of home phones for people to have to answer, not know who it is, but it's Mrs. Lawrence. And she's checking in on you, and she's checking in on you about everything. And Dana cares so passionately about every student, every staff member, all of you. You've all had a Dana story, I am sure. However, what we will miss most, as we talked about yesterday at our party, is morning, happy Monday, happy Tuesday, and all the way through the week. Dana Lawrence, we love you so much, and congratulations, and we hope you're in Hawaii more often than Truckee High School events. So I'm not supposed to have a paper, but I have to have a paper. So I have to have a paper for Mr. Pat Mooney because Pat was our WASC chair when we received our first 6-year clear since '82. Well done.
Add a little help.
And after crafting over 300 pages of educational jargon, instead of feeling that way, Pat decided to write a poem, which he does often for me, about all things. I've received it about the mission, which I'm going to read to you today, just a little portion about the master's schedule, and most recently about teaching and the profession that he is leaving behind as a legacy at Truckee High School. However, the beginning of our mission, which didn't stick, but we loved it anyway, behold this mission much besought, where scholars swell with knowledge bright, at Truckee High, where much is taught. So there he knows what's wrong from right. And Mr. Mooney, you have absolutely met this mission. You have met more than just that mission. Thank you for upholding the professionalism that is teaching and learning. When we walk into your classroom, I learn something each day, and I lean in because I'm a lit major, so I just want to sit there. Thank you. Please come back and visit. Also, 29 years of skiing. That is going to be a tough act to follow, but we hope to bring more trophies for you to our school. We'll have to fit them somewhere because I don't know where those are going to go. However, thank you and congratulations. Thank you. Yes. Can I hug
you? Yes, I have something to say. Sorry, I just, this is my last chance, I think, to say something as a teacher anyway. And it's been 33 years teaching at Truckee High, which I'm fairly certain I've spent more waking hours in that building than anywhere else. And it's become a second home to me, and it's really hard to leave. It's a bittersweet thing to leave a place that you feel has become a part of you and that you feel that you have become a part of. And I will miss it greatly. I've always felt, and I said some of this the other day at the staff meeting, that I feel like I'm part of this huge, great, noble experiment, that we call public education. And to be a small part of it here in Truckee has been such a privilege and has filled me with so much pride and purpose. And that's another thing that makes it so hard to leave. If I keep talking, I don't have to leave, right? You can leave. But to my colleagues at Truckee High and Principal Maloney, thank you very much for a great ride. To the school board, I wish you the best of luck in the future years in guiding the school district, and that's it. Thank you.
I know, long service, 35 and a half years. Here. So last but not least, Dana. So you have been in this district for 35 and a half years. The last section you've been in HR, and of course, you were there when I came there. And there's so many things I want to thank you for. So first of all, one of the things that you, and I'm going to use Joanna's word because she really is quintessential detail-oriented person. When you're in HR, when you're hiring people, the number of things that we have to do, and you just always had it detailed and you never missed a beat on anything. And you taught me a whole lot about that, so I'm just really so appreciative of that. Another word that I would say is like, and all of these are like, she like goes well above what the standard is, dependability. There was never, ever a day that you weren't early to work and you worked all of your hours and tirelessly did that. I mean, never. You were just like always there on, and so you could always be counted on for anything, which was really awesome. The other thing that I really like value in you and in who you are as a person, your character, is your confidentiality. You don't say anything to anybody about anything that I have, not even a whisper, and that is such something really that I value, and that is not with everybody, so I just really want to appreciate you for that. So thank you so much for everything you've done for our department. Yeah. Are you open to a hug?
Open to a hug?
Okay, we're going to move on to grants. We actually have a grant from the Friends of the Earth for our Food Services Department, Superintendent Geisels.
Yes. Mr. Rivera, would you like to give some details on the Friends of the Earth Food Service Grant?
Yes, thank you. This was a grant provided to our food service department to try to add some meatless options and some plant-based foods into our menus at the school district. So with this comes some requirements for us to add menu items twice every month, along with testing and surveying the students for whether they like those, and then continuing that on through the 2023 year.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Any board questions? Any public comment on this grant?
There's no public comments.
Thank you. Would anyone like to move approval?
I'll move to approve the grant for the food program.
I'll second it.
Member Levac,
Aye.
Member Hennessy,
Aye.
Clerk Larson,
Yes.
President Zurek.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hold a public hearing on our local control and accountability plan for 22-23. Superintendent Geisels?
As part of the approval process for our local control accountability plan, or Lcap, we have to hold a public hearing. So our incoming Executive Director of Education Services, Ms. Kirsten Kramer, will talk more in detail about this process.
Thank you for the opportunity to share with you just a nutshell view of a over 100-page document. So feel free to ask lots of questions at the end. And before I start the presentation, I just want to acknowledge and thank a lot of individuals. This was definitely a collaboration. I'd like to thank Superintendent Geisels for her assistance, Tara House, Jenny DeWald, Susie Phoebus, Jeff Santos, Todd Rivera, and Angie Morales-White for all of their support and help in putting this together. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Placer County Office of Education. They have met with us, they've reviewed it, and keep offering suggestions to help us make this as useful and understandable as possible. I also want to acknowledge that the digital version of this plan that you received last Friday has been updated. This is a living document, and so it will continue to change. Nothing substantial, just helping to make it more understandable and clearer and having just a better plan moving forward. So tonight, what I'm going to do is just kind of give you the parameters that the Lcap presents, tell you how this first year went, and then share with you our plans for next year, which is year 2. So this version of the Lcap is part of a 3-year plan. This current school year was year 1, and the new plan that you have in front of you is for next year, which is year 2 of the plan. Each year, we get input from educational partners on how we've done and the actions we have in place, and we ask for lots of feedback. And then we update the plan based on all of that input, but also on a lot of metrics that indicate how we're doing on these actions. Really, the goal is to make sure that the choices we're making as a school district, the instructional choices and everything, is having the impact we want on student learning. This is demonstrating and showing for you the different groups that we shared information with and got feedback from. I'll speak more about the feedback that they provided and how it influenced the plan later in the presentation. On page 29 and 30, there are highlights of what the input was and what the priorities are. And as you probably noticed, there's a lot of metrics in the plan. And that's important because it is an accountability plan, and we want to closely monitor what we're doing as a school district to make sure we're having the impact that we want, that we are the schools that our students deserve to have and the school district they deserve to have. So I selected 3 to highlight, but I'm happy to talk about any of them. The first one has detailed information on page 31 of the version that you received today. And this is a graduation rate comparing spring of 21 to spring of 20. And I selected this just because as a district, this is our ultimate end goal. We want our scholars to graduate and be successful through their educational program here in Tahoe, Truckee. And I highlighted this one also because in the reflections section of the Lcap, which is on page 22, you'll see graduation rate in both a success and then also for needs for improvement. So we're monitoring these subgroups carefully because we want all of our students to have success. So you can see that 1 subgroup improved and 2 did not. And this just tells us that we have work ahead of us and we're going to keep moving forward and working on the behalf of our scholars. The next, can you go back one? The next metric is the A through G readiness. So in addition to our students graduating, we want them ready for post-secondary studies in the state of California, and that's the A through G readiness. And you can see the pattern. Once again, we had success with 1 subgroup, but we had decline in 2. So we have work cut out of us for us, and it's in the plan of how we're going to keep addressing this. And the third one I wanted to highlight was our Healthy Kids Survey. This is so interesting to me because the students took this last spring in 2021 in the midst of the pandemic and having so many impacts to their educational program. But compared to 2016, we still see an increase in perceived connectedness to school and motivation, and that is amazing. That is just a testament to the hard work of the staff in the schools to build those connections. And safety stayed about the same, even though it was the middle of a pandemic. We want to be transparent with you and with the community that any actions originally written in last year do carry forward. There's often fiscal and budgetary decisions attached to those actions, so we want to be transparent about how the money is being used. And then also, based on 2019 results and the California dashboard, our district does receive differentiated assistance from PCOE in the areas listed there, and we do have 1 school in comprehensive support and improvement. And that just means we're not making the progress or maintaining the progress the state would like to see. And it's good that we have this additional support. We welcome it, and we're very thankful for it. So this is a very quick summary of how things went this year. For goal 1 and 2, you'll notice that not all of the actions were fully implemented. The largest barrier was the need to focus on health and safety, appropriately so, and then this challenge with staffing. A lot of those actions, teachers and staff members needed release time for, and as you can know, that we did not have the subs to make that happen, so that was one major barrier. And for goal 3, all 6 actions were fully implemented. And that's exciting because that was our priority that we heard from the board and from Carmen, that the health and wellness and mental health well-being of our students was a top priority, and those were the actions that we focused on. So looking ahead to year 2, the plan you have in front of you for next school year, we were able to make adjustments to the plan. It is a living document. We'll keep revising it through the year, and we'll bring it to you again next year at the end of the school year. But we did make some changes to the wording of goal 1 and 2 to make it clearer from our point of view. And then we changed some actions by adding some sub-goals within the actions to detail it out. And we discontinued one, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then we added more metrics. Because again, this is the accountability plan, and we want to make sure we're monitoring and analyzing the impact that these actions are having. Are they doing what we want them to do? So a little bit of detail. And again, I'm just trying to capture a nutshell, so please ask lots of questions at the end if you have any. So goal 1, the theme is having our students prepared for college, career, and life. And you can see the actions summarized there. For this goal, we added 1, action 12, and 1 was discontinued. Action 10 was discontinued, and that decision was made in the fall of this school year because we needed to prioritize our response to COVID measures and the pandemic, and we pulled out of a state network group just because we needed to stay focused. You'll notice that some of the actions are highlighted. Those are ones that our educational partners identified as a top priority. We're going to work on all of these actions over next school year and the year after, but those were highlighted as needing special attention. Action 1 is about our CTE programs. They're doing amazingly well, and the community, the staff, everyone we talk to really wants to see those continue to grow and expand. Along with that is the college and career readiness part, and this is all about communicating to our families early and often about what it means to be college and career ready by the time you're done and graduate from Tahoe Truckee Unified School District. And then Action 12 was identified as a priority, and you heard a lot about that one when we brought the A through G grant to you a couple of months ago. And that's just all about making sure we have special programs in place to support different subgroups. So AVID will go in place in the middle schools. We're continuing GRIT in the college and career ready courses at our high schools, and the Accelerated Learner Program at the elementary level. So goal 1 was all about college, career, and readiness. Goal 2 is about the classroom and the instruction, and making sure that the needs of all of our students are being met. You can see a lot of actions were added to this goal. And the thinking behind that was, again, the monitoring. This is an accountability plan, and we want to make sure that we're looking at more than just what we call lagging indicators. So when we look at the big summative metrics at the end of the year, that's important. We want to look at that. But during the course of the school year, we want to make sure we're monitoring progress and making those quick adjustments in the moment so that our students are receiving what they need. So those new actions really are helping us develop a system and make it consistent district-wide. Our educational partners identified 2 actions as a priority, 3 actions. Action 7, you heard about the English Learner Master Plan at the last board meeting, and we're also going to be adding the newcomer plan to that. And we heard that from a couple of different educational partner groups, of the importance of that. And of course, the team already has plans in place for August for getting that rolling. And then Action 8 is the multi-tiered systems of support. And again, that is helping us develop that system. In Principal Cuddle's presentation, she showed that triangle, and level 1 is first instruction for all students, level 2 and level 3. That's what that multi-tiered systems of support is. And so this is a priority for us to make sure that that first instruction for all students is exactly what students need, and that we have systems that are consistent across the district for identifying who needs that next level of support and who needs that really specially designed instruction at the top of the triangle. And then the other thing identified by many of the partners was just continuing to support our teachers. I just want the staff to know that our parents are really recognizing how hard they've worked throughout the pandemic, and they're concerned about burnout, and they want our teachers to feel supported. So we really appreciate that, and that action has been identified as a priority. So again, Goal 2 is all about the classroom and making sure all of our students' needs are being met. So Goal 3 is about the school climate, that our students feel safe and feel welcome. And this is the goal where all 6 actions were put in place, and you saw the results on the survey of how the students are feeling. So we're feeling very positive about the work in this area. Our educational partners did identify 3 actions as a priority. Action 3 is about communication between student and teacher and school to home, and making sure our families and our students and our staff know how to access our community liaisons. Our bilingual program is just blossoming and growing and having such a positive impact that we really want to make sure that everyone is aware of how to utilize this great service. The Action 4 is about that support that happens in every classroom at every grade level, that students are learning coping skills of how to deal with stress and just good mental health. And Action 5, the counseling support, is for those times when students and families need extra support due to things going on in their life outside of their control or in the school setting. So those 3 were identified as priorities. And again, all the actions for all the goal areas will be addressed over the next couple years, but those were kind of the ones highlighted as let's focus on first. And then lastly, I just want to make sure everyone's aware that part of this agenda item includes the Lcap federal addendum. This is important. The addendum has not changed. It was written for last year and it stays the same, but we want everyone to know that we do receive federal funds. They're very restricted, and we use them to supplement our program in very purposeful ways. But that is included every year, and we just want to make sure, in case anyone had questions, we're happy to talk about that too. So that is the nutshell version of the Lcap. So please ask lots of questions.
Thank you, Ms. Kramer. I'm going to actually go ahead and open the public hearing first, and then I will ask for board questions. And then we won't be approving this tonight. We'll be bringing it back on the 21st. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there any public comment? Seeing.
There's no public comment.
Did you want to make a public comment on the LCAP?
I want to ask a question.
Well, it's not an interactive process, but go ahead and come up here and.
It's my public comment that I was going to make is kind of about mental health, which I didn't realize was
okay.
part of this. My name's Erin. My kids were born and raised in Truckee.
Can you turn on the microphone, please?
Yeah, can you turn it on so people at home can hear you too?
Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
My kids were born and raised in Truckee, went through the school system. Both of them have since graduated, but my house has been a hub for a lot of teenagers over the years, and even currently. As a matter of fact, before I came, more teenagers came to hang out at my house as a safe space to talk. And one of the things that I've heard over the past couple of years, mostly since the pandemic, was that there has been a tremendous increase in depression, in talks amongst themselves about suicidal thoughts, and an increased use of drugs and alcohol. And I wasn't sure, I mean, for me, The COVID thing is totally different. I kind of feel like, I know it's not in the past, we still have to protect our kids from that, but I am more concerned with the long-term effects of the mental health issues that all of the COVID stuff has helped precipitate and make worse. It's hard enough being a teenager nowadays to go through life with all of the things that teenagers have to do in thinking about their futures, about their education, getting into colleges, getting scholarships for athletics, and then to have this totally affect their long-term goals. And a lot of them are still struggling with that depression despite moving forward to hopefully a newer normal, one where we can get rid of the masks, we can get rid of, contact tracing, you stay out of school for 2 weeks. I know for all of the teenagers, my own kids, my friends' kids, when they have that much time on their hands, it opens the door for them to use that time unwisely. And it's during those times of having extra time and not a whole lot of incentive to do, assignments. I'm a former teacher. I understand. I used to hate it when my kids would go on 2-week vacations and I'd have to come up with lessons for them to do. And they were always less than what they would have gotten had they been in the class. And I know watching my youngest son during COVID with his senior year doing his online assignments, I'm telling you, the education that he got was definitely not what he would have gotten had he been able to be in school. So I'm concerned with that aspect, and I know that during that time, like I said, just within the kids that have come in and out of my household, I saw a dramatic increase in them making unwise decisions, starting to party more, find people that they could do troublesome things with. And it's a concern for me when I think of mental health. And then you think of the mass shootings that have happened, not just with the school in Texas, but shopping centers, different people. All of them had mental health issues. So for me, it's an important thing to focus on. Thanks.
Thank you. We very much appreciate your comments. And so then I'm assuming that was you don't need this part. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Any other public comments during the public hearing? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board questions. And we've had this a week. It's fairly daunting. So Galen, I can't see you. I know you did submit some questions during the homework. Do you have any additional questions? There he is.
No, I don't. Kim, thank you.
Okay. Ladies? No. Okay. I just want to make a comment that this is a daunting document to read and to understand, and it's a relatively new format to us. I so appreciate the process that we've gone through to develop this. Your slide about who was included, I was part of the conversation with TTEA. So the input of all of the stakeholders on the prioritization, I happen to agree with our public commenter that as documented here, the mental well-being is something that I'm proud that we have focused on and actually even received additional funding and have additional supports. So don't take our lack of questions as lack of interest. Between you and the budget, you guys overwhelmed us. But I feel very secure and positive with this document moving forward that it will be a useful document to help us understand whether our efforts are successful. So thank you very much. Okay, so we will bring this back on June 21st. Terrific. Okay, so our next item for a public hearing is the 22-23 budget.
Yes, as you know, state law requires the board to hold a public hearing prior to the adoption of its annual budget. And so to lead us in this discussion, we have Mr. Todd Rivera.
Thank you. So as Superintendent Geisel said, this is just a requirement to hold a public hearing for the proposed budget prior to and at a different meeting than when the board will actually adopt the budget. I am not presenting tonight. I will be presenting on June 21st and providing a lot more details on the 2023 budget.
Okay. So similarly, I'm going to open the public hearing now. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say during the public hearing on the 22-23 budget? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Thank you very much. Todd, I want to start by thanking you for the 19-page summary that you provided to us. And I actually have some questions that I've given to you in the homework, and I'm going to hold off on my detailed questions till you're able to do your presentation on the 21st, if that's okay with you guys. So, Galen, how about you?
Yeah, I've got no additional questions right now, Kim. I agree, we'll look forward to the presentation.
Yes. So, I really, again, appreciate the depth of the work, and one thing I will note is I think this year's budget is one of the more confusing because of we have our long-term funding and expenditures, and then we have a whole set of short-term funds and expenditures that we received based on the things that have happened over the last 2 years with the pandemic. So helping us to separate those out and understanding the real economics of the district, I commend you and your staff because you've done a wonderful job on that. So thank you. So we'll hear more about that next week. Okay. Great. Thank you so much. Okay. Next, we have our consent agenda. Does staff wish to pull any items from the consent agenda?
No, we do not, President Zurich.
Would any board member like to pull any items from the consent agenda? Would someone like to move approval?
I'll move approval for the consent agenda.
I'll second. Member Libac?
Aye.
Member Hennessy?
Aye.
Clerk Larson?
Yes.
President Zurich?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next, we have two items under curriculum and instruction, and they are first reads for instructional materials for two of our classes. Superintendent Geisel. We'll start with journalism.
What you have before you is the first read of the adoption of high school journalism and instructional materials. It's been recently approved, the course has, by the board and granted A to G status. So we're very excited, and I know the high school principals are as well. The textbook selection was included in both the course approval and the A to G applications, and this would complete our process. So you have the first read, and if you have no questions, we will bring it back on the 21st for adoption.
Any questions or objections by the board moving this forward? Great, thank you. And then school drama.
The same goes for the school drama report, or excuse me, it is, believe it's been 15 years since we've adopted in this district a textbook for drama at the high school level. You can see Ms. Melanie shaking her head yes. In this process, the drama teacher reviewed several texts, and they piloted 2 over the course of 6 months, I believe, correct? And this, as a result of the process, this following textbook was recommended, which was called by Revell Explore Theater. So we'd like to bring this back to you for approval on the 21st of June's board meeting.
Questions, comments, objections moving forward? Okay. Please do bring it forward.
Thank you.
Next, under business services, we are being asked to approve a contract between TTUSD and Employer Solutions Staffing Group to help us to provide custodial staffing district-wide.
Yes. Mr. Rivera?
Thank you. So over the past year, the district has struggled with numerous vacancies in the custodial ranks. It's ranged from 4 vacancies all the way up to 10. I think we just hired a few custodians, so now we're down to 7 vacancies, but it's really been difficult to provide the level of service and cleanliness at our school sites that we've become accustomed to. We're working very hard on promoting those positions and advertising and trying to fill those, but it's taken a long time. So we're looking at some opportunities to outsource to support our existing custodial staff. This by no way replaces our current positions or vacancies. This is just to lend some support in the interim while we continue to work on filling those positions. So this contract will take us through next year. It's a pay-as-you-go. As they provide us resources or temporary staff, we'll pay them. The contract value is for $99,000. We may not expend all of that. It's just covering us for a period of time into next school year. And hopefully they can provide at least a few staff members that can come in and support our existing staff so that we don't have to continue rotating to different school sites and working overtime and on weekends.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. I'll just take this opportunity to recognize the amazing yeoman's work that our custodial staff has done through the pandemic and short-staffed. And we could say that about other areas too, but we're recognizing them right now. And also thank you, I know that was one of my questions in the homework, was making sure that we weren't supplanting any of our positions, but rather doing this until we're able to bring people on board. So thank you. Questions? Galen? Okay.
No question.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve this contract?
I'll move to approve the contract between TTUSD and Employer Solutions Staffing Group.
I'll second.
Member Libat?
Aye.
Member Hennessy?
Aye.
Clerk Larson?
Yes.
President Zurek?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have our annual debt report.
Go ahead, Mr. Rivera.
Thank you. So this is a requirement of our board policy 3470, which requires district staff to present an overview of all the district issued debt that's currently outstanding. So we bring this to the board every year. Lapita's going to bring that up, and then we'll just kind of scroll through and go through some of the highlights on this report. Can you scroll it to a little bit more? There we go. Up. Okay, so the first table basically shows all the general obligation bonds that are still active and outstanding within the district boundaries. That includes all the bonds through our School Facilities Improvement District Number 1 and School Facilities Improvement District Number 2. So that includes the most recent 2014 bonds, but also includes bonds issued back as far as 1999. Our total original issuance amount was $263,669,035. And the current principal outstanding for that debt is $163,051,319. And then moving down just a little bit more, the certificates of participation that we issued in 2019, the original issuance amount of that was $40 million, and we currently have $37,520,000 outstanding in principal. So moving on to our tax rates, and these are the tax rates that our property owners pay on a per $100,000 of assessed value for SFID number 1, which essentially covers the Truckee area and some of the unincorporated areas going into Martis Camp and those regions. SFID number 1, our current tax rate is $44.54 per $100,000 assessed value. And then on SFID number 2, which is our Lakeside School Improvement District, our overall rate is $48.75 per $100,000 of assessed value. And then our financial advisors go through and they try to project what our tax rates will look like for our homeowners and property owners moving on in the future based on the level of debt service that is required to be paid every year. And essentially, that's what this bar chart shows. The first bar chart for SFID number 1 shows the current value rate that we talked about at $44.54. It does increase a little bit over the next several years and then starts to subside and go back down. And then eventually in 2040 through 2047, which are the last years of debt service for those bonds, it goes to a fairly minimal amount. And these are based on pretty conservative property tax, or excuse me, assessed value projections of growth in our area of 3.25%. So if the assessed value actually comes in higher, then those tax rates are going to be less. Moving on to SFID number 2, our projected tax rates there, starting in 2022, you see the bar chart just in between the $40 and the $60, that's the $48.75 that we're currently seeing in 2022. It does increase in the next few years, the same as SFID number 1, and then starts to level off. And again, around that 2040, 2041 year, it starts going down to pretty small values on a per $100,000 of assessed value. Moving forward on to our bonding capacity. This essentially is the amount of debt that the district could issue, and it's based on our overall assessed value, and they say that school districts can issue 2.5% of their assessed value in overall debt issuances. So for us, our bonding capacity, as it's called, is just under a little bit over $672 million. We currently have outstanding bonds of $163 million approximately, so that leaves our bonding capacity or our availability of debt we could issue at $509 million.
Not that we plan to do that.
No. And then going on to our credit ratings, the district continues to have very positive, very good credit ratings with all of the major rating agencies, Moody's, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch. So our overall rating is AA1 from Moody's as of April 16, 2021, and AA from Standard & Poor's as of May 24, 2022. And our COPs have a little bit less of a rating at AA minus from Standard & Poor's. Moving on to the market rate, Market Watch. As everybody probably knows, we're seeing interest rates rise, so we no longer really can take the benefit of issuing debt at a very low interest rate as we were able to take advantage of when we issued all of our bonds. So the trend looks like it's going to continue to escalate, which leads to, just if you scroll down just a little bit, Lupita, looking at refunding opportunities. There's nothing in the near future because of the increase in interest rates that we're seeing. Hopefully that starts to subside and go back down, and maybe we can refinance some of our existing debt. And that's really about it. Is there any questions?
Questions for Todd? No? Galen?
No questions, thank you.
I actually have a request, Todd, related to this. So the bar charts that you presented, we in 2014, when we did the financing for the improvements at our schools, we had similar bar charts that showed where the maximum that the voters approved. Could we put those side by side at some point and just say, okay, here's what we said could happen, and here's where we ended up? That I would really appreciate that. Okay, thank you. And that's not a huge rush, but sometime over the summer. Thank you. Okay, so we do not need to take action on this. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then we have we had 4 board policies on first read. I think did we have any homework questions on those? We did, and we answered, correct?
Galen had the homework.
That's right, Galen. So did you get a satisfactory answer on your question?
Yes.
Great.
I did.
Thank you. So is it okay with the board if we move these to consent at the next meeting? Thank you.
Galen, I feel like that question that you asked in the homework, in regards to, I'm assuming it was you, about the sexual harassment. Sorry if I'm assuming. I feel like that's come up before. Has the language not changed, or is it just that it is written
So-
because it's supposed to be written that way? So, because I feel like that's been a concern of other board members or whomever asked this question before.
Yes, it has come up in the past before, and we had taken that language out. But as we've moved forward, especially with the new Title IX regulations and stuff, the law is very specific that with specific harassments, that is the level we're going to have to hold people to when we investigate. So as I shared with some examples, that we have other things between board policy and ed code that really give us a lot of ability to hold people accountable on a much lower level. That's just the language in sexual harassment or any kind of Title IX sexual harassment. That's the proving level. Does that help?
Thank you. So we're good to move these forward to consent, board? Okay, thank you very much. And then we have public comments, so I know Ms. Ms. Lind did her comment. Is there any other public comment this evening on anything that's not on this evening's agenda? Seeing none, I will close public comment. So we have comments of board members. Galen, why don't you start us off?
Thank you, Kim. I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hennessy?
Thank you. Let's see. So, first I want to say, because we still have concerned members in the audience, that if you want more details on what's happening at specific school sites regarding mental health, I just encourage you to drop by or pick up the phone, because there are things happening and evolving with mental health in our district, because we take it to heart and it's an important goal for us. So I just want to encourage you to just call or drop in any site. I wanted to share that finally we got the literacy circles back. Yes, from Sierra High School. Highlight of my year every year, and this year it did not disappoint. It was so great. The books were amazing. The kids were incredible. The poster boards that they made, their artwork, their summaries, it was just incredible. And I'm super happy that that event is back and live. And just, a few high school graduations, and just anxious to wrap up the year as a parent, and also for our staff. I feel like we all need a little break. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go next. So we got to go to the Sierra High graduation today, which was wonderful, as usual. And I think the students received between $50,000 and $60,000 of scholarships. So congratulations. And again, our community is amazing in their generosity. And Saturday, Kirsten and I attended the Truckee High School graduation, and someone had a graduate. So it was a wonderful ceremony. The skies, the lenticular clouds. I mean, what better pictures could we have had? And then, I was on the West Shore on Sunday. It was a deluge, so we really, and those kids had over $1 million in scholarships between the community and their other scholarships. So really, really cool.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm looking forward to the rest of, to next week with our middle school promotions and elementary school promotions to middle school. It's a great time of year, and having missed out, and I've said this multiple times now, but having missed out on being around the kids and around the teachers and in the facilities over the last 2 years, boy, it's so nice to be back at it. So really, and like these Glenshire kids today, it's just so amazing. Kirsten?
Just to piggyback on the graduation glory of, I only got to attend North Tahoe and Truckee High, but still I feel like they were just absolutely beautiful ceremonies, and the practice and the articulation that went into every single detail was very obvious. So I'm so grateful that we got to have an in-person graduation this year, and we got really lucky with the weather on Saturday because Sunday was a disaster. So congratulations for pulling that off, and to Joanna as well. Looking forward to many more in the future without having my own children graduating. I'm getting used to now what it's like to have a college-age child home from school and a high school graduate at the same time who stay out every night
Yeah,
until...
you'll be ready for them to leave again.
I have 4 hours of sleep a night since graduation. It's starting to take its toll. So, yeah, when they go back, I'm going to be ready. I was going to text you, like, how do you do this? So, and I don't have COVID tonight, by the way. I know I appear horribly symptomatic, but I'm just I have pollen allergies beyond belief, and my medication is not working. So, thanks, Carmen. She came over to me in the middle of the meeting. She's like, "Are you okay?" It's just allergy, something in my sinuses decided it didn't want to be here tonight, and my house has filters. So when I'm in my house, I don't realize. When I come out into the public, all of a sudden I realize how bad it is. So anyway, thanks everyone for dealing with my disgusting symptoms tonight.
Right. Thank you all, and we're adjourned for the evening. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your evening.